Senate will come to order. Mr. Schaffler, please call the roll.
Senators Amabile, Baisley, Ball, Benavidez, Bridges, Bright, Carson, Catlin, Cutter, Danielson, Danielson,
Excuse.
Doherty,
Here.
Exum, Exum,
Excused.
Frizzell, Frizzell, Gonzalez, Hendrickson, Judah, Kipp, Kirkmeyer, Kolker, Lindstedt, Liston, Marchman, Mullica, Pelton B, Pelton R, Rich, Roberts, Rodriguez, Simpson, Snyder, Sullivan, Wallace, Weissman, Zamora Wilson. Mr. President.
Let's do this. The morning roll call is 33 present, 0 absent, 2 excused. We have a quorum. Majority Leader Rodriguez.
Thank you, Mr. President. I move that we suspend Senate Rule 1B to allow someone other than the senator to lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance.
You've heard the motion. This requires a 2/3 vote. All those in favor say aye. Opposed, no. The ayes have it. Senate Rule 1B will be suspended to allow someone other than the senator to lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance. Members, this morning we have a very special guest and very special guests to lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance. Please welcome Senator Ball's son, Nelson, and his second grade class from Dormore Elementary. Today is also Nelson's birthday. Happy birthday, Nelson.
Please join me in the pledge. I pledge allegiance to the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Hey, good job, y'all. I will go back this way.
Good job,
Let's give it up one more time for them as they lead.
Good job.
Mr. Schaffler, please add Senator Danielson to the roll. Approval of the journal. Senator Rich.
Thank you, Mr. President. I move the Senate Journal of March 13th, 2026 be approved as corrected by the Secretary.
You've heard the motion. All those in favor say aye. Opposed, no. What? The ayes have it still, and that motion is adopted. Senate Services.
Correctly engrossed, Senate Bill 87, 88, 118, and 120. Correctly re-engrossed, Senate Bill 104 and 132. Correctly revised, House Bill 1038 and 1146, House Joint Resolution 1020. Correctly enrolled, Senate Bill 13, Senate Joint Resolution 15.
Message from the House.
The House has passed on third reading and transmitted to the Reviser of Statutes House Bill 1232 and House Bill 1259. The House has passed on third reading and transmitted to the Reviser of Statutes House Bill 1229, House Bill 1239, and House Bill 1244, amended as printed in House Journal March 12, 2026. The House has passed on third reading and transmitted to the Reviser of Statutes House Bill 1079, amended as printed in House Journal March 12, 2026, and amended on third readings as printed in House Journal March 13, 2026. House has voted to concur in the Senate amendments to House Bill 1001 and has repassed the bill as so amended.
Message from the Reviser.
We herewith transmit without comment House Bill 1232 and 1259, without comment as amended, House Bill 1079, 1229, 1239, and 1244.
Third reading of bills. Consent calendar. Mr. Schaffler, please read the titles of all the bills on the consent calendar.
Senate Bill 118 by Senators Coleman and Simpson and Representative Clifford concerning the payment of designated benefits to a charitable organization upon the death of a donor. House Bill 1146 by Representatives Phillips and Hamrick and Senators Colker and Kipp concerning allowing approved facility schools to affiliate with the Public Employees Retirement Association. Senate Bill 88 by Senators Kirkmeyer and Carson, Representatives Winter T. and Martinez concerning the grounds surrounding the State Capitol building and in connection therewith providing for the maintenance and repair of memorials and monuments on the Capitol grounds and in Lincoln Veterans Memorial Park.
Mr. Majority Leader.
Thank you, Mr. President. I move for passage of all the bills on third reading of bills, final passage consent calendar, which are Senate Bill 118, House Bill 1146, and Senate Bill 88.
Any discussion on any of the bills? Seeing none, the motion is the passage of all the bills on third reading of the bills consent calendar. Are there any? No votes. Senator Baisley.
Thank you, Mr. President. Good morning.
Good morning.
I'd like to be counted as a no vote, please, on Senate Bill 118 and House Bill 1146.
Senator Baisley will be recorded as a no vote on Senate Bill 118 and House Bill 1146. Senator Carson.
Thank you, Mr. President. I ask to be recorded as a no vote on House Bill 261146.
Very good. Senator Carson will be recorded as a no vote on House Bill 1146. Senator Zamora Wilson.
No. Good morning, Mr. President. I wish to be a no vote on Senate Bill 118 and 1146.
What? Senator Zamora Wilson will be recorded as a no vote on Senate Bill 118 and House Bill 1146. Senator Rich.
Thank you, Mr. President. I ask to be recorded as a no vote on House Bill 1146.
Oh, thank goodness. Senator Rich will be recorded as a no vote on House Bill 1146. Senator Liston?
Thank you, Mr. President. Mr. President, I would like to be recorded as a yes vote on Senate Bill 118 and Senate Bill 088, but a no vote on House Bill 1146.
Very good. Senator Liston will be recorded as a no vote on House Bill 1146. Senator Pelton R.
Thank you, Mr. President, and good morning.
Good morning.
I would like to be recorded as a no on 1146.
Senator Pelton R. recorded as a no vote on House Bill 1146. Senator Pelton B.
Thank you, Mr. President. I wish to be a no vote on House Bill 1146.
Senator Pelton B. recorded as a no vote on House Bill 1146. Seeing no further no votes, with a vote of 32 ayes, 2 noes, 0 absent, and 1 excused, Senate Bill 118 is passed. Co-sponsors. Great bill. Senator Kipp. Judah. Marchman. Cutter. Gonzalez. Snyder. Colker. Frizzell. Ball. Great bill to co-sponsor. Oh, wow. Doherty. Yeah. Anyone else? Anybody else? All right. Let's see, one of the children in the back raised their hand. Thank you for that. With a vote of 27 ayes, 7 noes, 0 absent, 1 excused, House Bill 1146 is passed. Co-sponsors. Senators Marchman, Danielson, Wallace, Cutter, Weissman, Lindstedt, Mullica, please add Senator Gonzalez as a co-sponsor of 1146. For the co-sponsors. With a vote of 34 ayes, 0 noes, 0 absent, 1 excused, Senate Bill 88 is passed. Co-sponsors, Senators Wallace. It's lonely out here. Seeing no further co-sponsors, please don't add the president. Oh, co-sponsor? Frizzell. Bright on 88. Pelton B. There will be no influencing of co-sponsors on the floor by anyone except the president. Mr. Minority Leader. Zamora Wilson. Liston. It's pretty good. Let's see, Pelton R is not co-sponsored. All right, we'll be Catlin. All right, seeing no further co-sponsors. Oh, Pelton R. Baisley. You are a pretty good whip. Rich. Liston is already a co-sponsor. All right, no more co-sponsors. Okay, third reading of the bills. Final passage. Mr. Schaffler, please read the title of Senate Bill 87.
Senate Bill 87 by Senators Wallace and Pelton B. and Representatives Nguyen and Lindsay concerning authorizing legislative leave from employment during a legislative session for certain members of the General Assembly.
Senator Wallace.
Thank you, Mr. President. I move Senate Bill 2687 on third reading and final passage.
Further discussion? Seeing none. The motion is the passage of Senate Bill 87. Are there any no votes? What? Senators Zamora Wilson, Rich, Baisley, Bright, Liston, Carson, Kirkmeyer, Frizzell, Minority Leader, Mr. Minority Leader, Catlin, Pelton R. With a vote of 23 ayes, 11 noes, 0 absent, 1 excused, Senate Bill 87 is passed. Co-sponsors, Senators Marchman, Gonzalez, Kipp, Weissman, Judah, Lindstadt, Henriksen. Please add the president. Mr. Schaffler, please read the title of Senate Bill 120.
Senate Bill 120 by Senators Marchman and Wallace and Representatives Zakai and Bradley concerning law enforcement procedures related to missing persons.
Senator Wallace.
Thank you, Mr. President. I move Senate Bill 26120 on third reading and final passage.
Further discussion, Senator Marchman.
Thank you, Mr. President. There are people in this chamber today who should not have had to come here. Joe and Vanessa Trussell made the drive from their homes to this chamber because their daughter Megan is the reason this bill exists. I am grateful that they are here. I am sorry for what brought them here. You guys can stand up if you don't mind. Thank you. And I want to say, Rebecca Russell, Kaylee's mother, who could not be with us today, we see you too. This bill carries her too. Every officer trained on every alert in this state carries her name forward. This chamber has already heard the full story. I'm not going to ask you to live through it again. What I will say is this: 2 women are gone, 2 families did everything right, and the systems that were supposed to move did not. They did not move fast enough. They did not move at all. SB 120 sets the clock for every college and university in Colorado, 6 hours from the report, not the determination before law enforcement is called. Every peace officer trained on every missing person alert in this state. And when a college has looked elsewhere and everywhere it can look and still cannot confirm a student is safe, the family gets called, not as a courtesy, but as part of the process. I've stood in 2 cold parking lots with families who came because they loved someone. I will not stand here and tell you this bill would have brought them home. I don't know that. No one does. But what I know is that right now, somewhere in Colorado, there is a student enrolled at an institution with no legal obligation to act within any defined time frame if they go missing. That's true today, but it doesn't have to be true tomorrow. Joe and Vanessa, thank you for being here. This vote is for Megan, and it's for every family that should never have to make the drives you made to get here. Colleagues, I ask for your aye vote.
Seeing no further discussion, the motion is the passage of Senate Bill 120. Are there any no votes? With a vote of 34 ayes, 0 noes, 0 absent, and 1 excused, Senate Bill 120 is passed. Co-sponsors, Senators Judah, Kip, Benavidez, Cutter, Gonzalez, Doherty, Danielson, Amabile, Kirkmeyer, Frizzell, Snyder, Mr. Majority Leader, Weissman, Ball, Roberts, Henriksen, Sullivan, Mr. Minority Leader, Lindstedt, Mullica, Bridges, Bright, Colker, Pelton R. Please add the president. Mr. Schaffler, please read the title of House Bill 1038.
House Bill 1038 by Representative Pascal and Clifford and Senator Snyder concerning County Commissioner redistricting.
Mr. Majority Leader.
Thank you, Mr. President. I move to lay over House Bill 1038 until Tuesday, March 17th.
The motion is lay over House Bill 1038 until Tuesday, March 17th. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no. The ayes have it. And House Bill 1038 will lay over until tomorrow, Tuesday, March 17th. Mr. Majority Leader.
Thank you, Mr. President. Pursuant to Senate Rule 21C, I move the Senate grant leave to the Joint Budget Committee to meet while the Senate is in session.
You've heard the motion. All those in favor say aye. Opposed, no. The ayes have it. That motion is adopted. Y'all can get up out of here. We love you. General Orders, second reading of the bills. Consent calendar. Senadora Gonzalez.
Thank you, Mr. President. I move that the Senate resolve itself into the Committee of the Whole for consideration of General Order, second reading of bills consent calendar.
You've heard the motion. All those in favor say aye. Opposed, no. The motion is adopted. The Senate will resolve itself in Committee of the Whole for consideration of General Order, second reading of bills consent calendar, and Senadora Gonzalez will take the chair. Get you some.
Committee will come to order. The court rule is relaxed. Mr. Schaffler, will you please read the titles to all the bills on the General Order, second reading of bills consent calendar?
House Bill 1042 by Representatives Foray and Bradley and Senator Ball concerning dry needling by occupational therapists. Senate Bill 126 by Senators Marchman and Rich concerning teacher licensure for out-of-state applicants.
Majority Leader Rodriguez.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I move for the passage of all the bills on second reading of bills consent calendar, which is House Bill 1042 and Senate Bill 126 and the Education Report.
Is there any discussion on the committee report? Seeing none, the motion before the body is the adoption of the report to the bill on the General Order, second reading of bills consent calendar. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed, no. The ayes have it. The report is adopted. Is there any discussion on any of the bills? Seeing none, the motion before the body is the adoption of all the bills on the General Order, second reading of bills consent calendar. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no. The ayes have it. Those bills are adopted. Majority Leader Rodriguez.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I move the committee rise and report.
Motion is to rise and report. All those in favor say aye. Opposed, no. Ayes have it. Motion is adopted.
Senate will come to order. Senator Gonzalez.
Thank you, Mr. President. We met and considered bills. Mr. Schaffler, will you please read the report?
March 16, 2026, Mr. President, your Committee of the Whole begs leave to report as heading in consideration the following attached bills, being the second reading thereof, makes the following recommendations thereon. Senate Bill 126 as amended, passed in second reading and ordered engrossed and placed in the calendar for third reading and final passage. House Bill 1042 passed in second reading and ordered revised and placed in the calendar for third reading and final passage.
Senator Gonzalez.
Thank you, Mr. President. I move the report.
The motion is the adoption of the Committee of the Whole report. Are there any no votes? With a vote of 34 ayes, 0 noes, 0 absent, 1 excused, Committee of the Whole report is adopted. Senate Bill 126 is amended, passed in second reading, order and gross place in the counter for third reading and final passage. House Bill 1042, passed on second reading, order revised and placed in the counter for third reading and final passage. General Order, second reading of the bills. Senator, Mr. Schaffler. Before we do that, please add Senator Exum to the roll. And now, General Order, second reading of the bill. Senator Gonzalez.
Thank you. Mr. President, I move the Senate resolve itself into the Committee of the Whole for consideration of General Order, second reading of bills.
You've heard the motion. All those in favor say aye. Opposed, no. The ayes have it, and the motion is adopted. The Senate will resolve itself in Committee of the Whole for consideration of General Orders. Second reading of bills, and Senator Gonzalez will take the chair.
All right, y'all. Committee will come to order. The court rule is relaxed for everyone in the chamber. Mr. Schaffler, will you please read the title to Senate Bill 66?
Senate Bill 66 by Senators Judah and Carson concerning the regulation of compounded weight loss medications that have not been approved by the United States Food and Drug Administration.
Senator Judah.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I move Senate Bill 66 and the committee report.
To the HHS report.
The committee report is the bill because we had a strike below, and I ask for an aye vote.
Is there further discussion about the committee report? Seeing none, the motion before the body is the adoption of the committee report from HHS. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no. The ayes have it, and that report is adopted. To the bill, Senator Judah.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I do have an amendment to SB 66L008.
There is. An amendment at the desk. Mr. Schaffler, will you please read L88 to Senate Bill 66?
Amendment L008.
Senator Judah.
Thank you, Madam Chair. This amendment essentially helps the little guys, and we are going to exempt them if they are essentially making 20 doses or less. And this also means long-term care facilities, assisted living residents, home care agencies, and the PACE program, and an adult daycare facility. And I ask for an aye vote.
Senator Judah, would you please move your amendment?
I will, and I apologize. I move L8 to Senate Bill 66.
As a proper motion, is there further discussion on L8? Senator Carson.
A couple of comments on this amendment. You know, a lot of the mail we've received on this particular bill talks about unique dosages, specific cases where people have compounding drug needs. And I think this amendment helps to address that. I think in general, though, you know, this bill is not targeted at compound drugs. What we're saying here is they have a very legitimate place, but we want to make sure the ingredients are safe and healthy. And that's the purpose of this piece of legislation. And I think this amendment helps us to address that issue.
Is there further discussion? Oh, sorry, Senator Carson. Was there further discussion? Okay, thank you.
No, Madam Chair.
Thank you. Senator Frizzell. To L008.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Members, I appreciate this effort on the part of the bill sponsors, but I have a question about it's specifically, so that we're helping the little guys. How many patients would 20 units of weight loss drugs per month actually serve? So I'm talking about a number of patients that 20 units serves.
Further discussion? Senator Judah.
Thank you, Madam Chair. In our conversations with smaller pharmacies, they made it clear that they have fewer customers, if you will, or patients that use GLP-1 weight loss drugs. So the 20 was kind of the ceiling, I think also making it generous for them. But again, I think the way this is worded is it's talking about people who make 20 or more GLP compounded weight loss drugs in the compounding pharmacies.
Is there further discussion on L008? Senator Frizzell.
Thank you, Madam Chair. So, members, I would submit to you that this particular amendment, while well-intentioned, this bill will still capture the vast majority of compounding pharmacies and pharmacists that do business here in the state of Colorado. We heard very loud and clear in committee from folks who use GLP-1 weight loss drugs that have been compounded, and they do so for a variety of reasons, and we'll be talking a lot more about that here in a few minutes. But I urge a no vote on this amendment.
Further discussion? Seeing none, the motion before the body is the adoption of L008. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no? The ayes have it. L8 is adopted. To the bill, Senator Judah.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Colleagues, I've been looking forward to this discussion because we all know that all too often our legislation gets misinterpreted by the lobby and mischaracterized. I'm afraid that has happened with Senate Bill 66, and that's why I'm eager to set the record straight today, to clarify exactly what the bill does, what it doesn't do, and why it's important for health and safety of Coloradans. I also want to mention that a lot of the emails that you've been receiving have been based on the introduced version and not the strike below. So please understand that the strike below has taken amendments from almost all, if not many, of our opposition, including the pharmacists. At its core, SB 66 is about patient and consumer protection. It ensures that those who take compounded GLP-1 weight loss medications can make informed decisions and trust that their ingredients they're receiving are safe. That is simply the primary goal, that their ingredients are safe and they know where they're coming from so that they can make an informed decision. This is what the bill does. It protects patients by ensuring that compounded GLP-1 weight loss drugs are made from safe, traceable, most importantly, human-grade ingredients. It ensures transparency so patients know what they're getting, whether it's FDA-approved medication or a compounded one. Clear labeling is key. And finally, it establishes enforcement by granting the Attorney General exclusive authority to uphold these laws under the Colorado Consumer Protection Act. But here's what the bill does not do based on some of the information you've been getting in your emails. It doesn't target legitimate compounding pharmacies. Good actors, those who follow best practices, have nothing to worry about in this bill. This bill is holding bad actors accountable, not harming the good ones. It doesn't create a path for lawsuits. Contrary to some claims, the bill explicitly removes the private right of action. The only entity with enforcement power is the AG's office. Pharmaceutical companies cannot use this bill as a tool to sue compounding pharmacies. I want to repeat that. The pharmaceutical companies cannot use this bill to sue compounding pharmacies. It doesn't restrict access to necessary compounding medications. What it does address is the growing market of compounded weight loss drugs, which has raised serious patient safety concerns, including issues like inconsistent dosing, contamination risks, we've seen arsenic in these things, and confusion between compounded and FDA-approved medications. Addressing some of the common misconceptions, this bill creates confusion for patients. The opposite is true. Clear labeling is critical for patient safety. By ensuring patients know exactly what they're getting, we empower them to make informed decisions about their health and what they're taking. This isn't about confusion, it's simply about transparency. Claim number 2, this bill allows pharmaceutical companies to sue. As I mentioned earlier, this bill removes the private right of action, explicitly ensuring that only the AG can enforce it. This bill is about protecting patients, not enabling litigation. False claim number 3, the bill will harm compounding pharmacies. This bill is not an attack on compounding pharmacies, large or small. It's about making sure that compounded medications used for high-risk drugs, like weight loss medications, are held to appropriate and safety standards. This bill protects good actors who are already following the rules. Claim number 4, this is already regulated by the FDA. This bill is related to 503A pharmacies. 503A pharmacies are primarily regulated by the State Board of Pharmacy, not the FDA. 503B is regulated by the FDA. While they must adhere to federal laws and use USP quality standards, they are exempt from FDA-enforced current good manufacturing practices and do not need to register with the FDA. This means it is our responsibility as lawmakers and a state to ensure that these pharmacies are using safe and effective ingredients when making products in Colorado. Safe and effective ingredients coming from sources that are FDA approved. False claim number 5 is that there's no public safety risk. The issue is quickly becoming not only a safety risk, but a public safety emergency. A recent study found that patients taking compounded weight loss drugs were over 66 times more likely to experience suicidality than those taking an FDA-approved medication. The FDA and FBI have recently warned telehealth companies about these products, particularly when ingredients come from unregulated suppliers. At this time, poison control calls have related to compounding weight loss drugs have surged by 1,500% since 2019, signaling a rapidly escalating public health risk. I want to make sure that people understand we are not going after compounding pharmacies, and this bill only applies to weight loss medication. A lot of the things that you've been receiving have made it seem like we are going after all compounding pharmacies and that we are going after all compounded weight loss drugs. This is not the case. This is a phenomenon that we are seeing only with compounded weight loss drugs. No other drug is being nefariously compounded and getting ingredients from non-FDA sources. There's a few additional points I want to make that this bill does not apply to outsourcing facilities or 503B, which are regulated by the federal level. The bill does not impact compounding pharmacies' ability to continue to compound drugs for legitimate medical purposes, such as pediatric dosing, hormone therapy, and care in long-term facilities. The bill does not interfere with prescribers' ability to make medical decisions for their patients. The bill does carve out certain entities that will not be impacted, such as hospitals, clinics, long-term care facilities, and pharmacies providing animal medication. The bill does not limit The bill does not limit competition. Each new drug that comes out is more effective and puts downward pressure on the ones already released. Beyond that, there are currently 170 different weight loss drugs known to be in the pipeline from 82 companies. These medicines will continue to become cheaper even before the patents expire. We've worked carefully with the stakeholders to ensure that this bill does not overreach, that refined definitions to make the intent absolutely clear. That said, I acknowledge that we have not mitigated the concerns of all stakeholders. I believe this marketplace deserves robust competition and competition that only works when the rule book applies to everyone. By ensuring all weight loss medication is safe, consumers can make a choice that serves them best. Go for it.
Senator Carson.
Thank you, Madam Chair. And I want to thank my distinguished colleague from Aurora for going through and rebutting point by point the criticisms to this piece of legislation. Illegal ingredients linked to knockoff weight loss drugs are pouring into this country from China, India, and elsewhere. And many of these are ending up in questionable and misleading products for consumers. In the last 2 years, 18% of the bulk shipments coming into the U.S. were denied entry by U.S. Customs. These are shipments of semaglutide and trizepatide. Now, 82% passed inspection, but many of these as well are of questionable ingredients. Many are from non-sterile facilities and holding unapproved and unreviewed ingredients. They originate from non-FDA registered facilities. What this bill says is that GLP-1 ingredients must be either FDA approved or must originate from FDA registered and inspected facilities, and the ingredients must be accurately labeled for consumers. As my colleague mentioned, we've addressed many concerns exempting hospitals, long-term care facilities, hospice, and this latest amendment exempts small batches, 20 or less than 20 per month for unique dosages out there in the state. Now, I've read or had heard over the weekend, reviewed some articles saying that this bill is just a gift to pharma. And I would argue it's not a gift to pharma, it's a gift to consumers to make sure they get safe and accurate and quality products. You know, it's easy to criticize pharmaceutical companies until you get the drug that improves your quality of life or saves the life of someone you care for or love. You know, these particular drugs are life-saving, GLP-1. We fully support that. They've been developed, nearly 30 years it took to develop these drugs, 25 plus years, research and development, trials, manufacturing, scaling up. And they produced a tremendous benefit, treatment, life-saving for diabetes and for those who need weight loss medications. But you know, you just take the top 10 pharmaceutical companies in this country. They spend $120 billion this year on research and development. So we can find new drugs to cure, hopefully cure Alzheimer's, Parkinson's, MS, and rare diseases that are out there that we talked about earlier in the session. In the U.S., we respect patents so companies can recoup their cost and they can drive that money back into research and development so we find life-saving drugs developed over many years. As my colleague mentioned, the private right of action has been taken out of this bill, was in the original version. We've made it very clear. We just want the Attorney General to be the enforcer on this bill, to put some basic guidelines out there to make sure that the consumers in Colorado are getting a safe and healthy product. This is not targeted at the compounding drug industry. It's very narrowly tailored, and I believe it will accomplish the mission of improving safety for Colorado consumers. So with that, I would urge adoption of the legislation.
Is there further discussion on Senate Bill 66? Senator Bright.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I just did a little bit of checking while reviewing the amendment that we just approved, and noticed that a typical weekly prescription for a GLP-1 for weight loss requires 50 units, and the amendment exempted up to 20 units, and that's just for one person, one prescription. And so I don't feel like we got to even one person, one prescription for 1 week, much less 1 month. And so, just so we keep scale of what that looks like, I heard this bill in Health and Human Services Committee, and I want to appreciate the work and the intent that the sponsors brought. I really feel like this is an important space to address. I feel like after uncovering a lot of it and figuring out motives and figuring out intent, figuring out the direction that the legislation takes, I feel like the intent, the way the legislation is written versus what needs to be addressed are kind of pointed in two separate directions. There's no doubt that bad ingredients, bad chemicals cross the U.S. shores every day. And I feel like the best place to stop those things from happening, those bad ingredients, are at the U.S. shores, not at our local pharmacies. There are many companies that work in this space, that work within FDA-approved spaces, with FDA-approved chemicals, and this bill would limit those folks from being able to compete in these spaces. I think the bill is overly sweeping. In an attempt to pick up and address those bad actors, we haven't really done that, yet we have picked up the folks who are in this space legally and operating within FDA guidelines. This bill still hasn't addressed the issue that there is bad actors, that there are bad ingredients. The bill doesn't pick up any of that. I'm sure glad that in committee we got to amend out the private right of action, because I feel like at the committee level, I'm not sure this bill would have survived with the PRA there. And so I commend the sponsors for working with us and getting that done. I feel like we should go after those bad actors in this space. We should hold harmless the folks that are doing this in a legitimate FDA-approved way. As I look at the folks that are kind of behind the bill, the companies that would be affected, it looks to me like there's two big pharmaceutical companies versus everybody else. And I think those two big pharma companies have probably invested a whole lot in trying to get this bill passed. And it seems to me, as I read through between the lines, the bill is very much intended to limit their competition in this space. And as a free market American, I don't know, I guess I can't stand for that. I believe there is language that can get us to a place where we're actually addressing the issues in this space. And I've prepared an amendment to address that.
There's an amendment at the desk. Mr. Schaffler, will you please read L9 to Senate Bill 66?
Amendment L9.
Senator Bright.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Amendment L9, I move Amendment L9 to Senate Bill 66.
A proper motion, please explain L9.
Thank you, Madam Chair. L9 amends the Health and Human Services Committee report and brings in some language I think is appropriate that more adequately holds harmless the folks that are working in this space correctly, so that the bill can focus on those folks who are not. And it would also exempt a practitioner who prescribes, orders, dispenses, or administers a compounded weight loss drug in the course of professional practice, and/or a licensed pharmacist outsourcing facility, wholesaler, or distributor that compounds, prepares, dispenses, or sells, or transfers, or distributes a compound weight loss drug in substantial compliance with 503A or 503B. I feel like this gets to where this bill needs to be so that we can gather some unanimous support in this direction. And I would encourage an aye vote on L9.
Further discussion? Senator Frizzell. Senator Frizzell.
We're all so civilized. Thank you, Madam Chair, and I rise in support of Amendment L009 to Senate Bill 66. Members, we've heard lots of conversation from the bill sponsors around this, and I also, along with my good colleague from Platteville, had the opportunity to hear this bill in Health and Human Services and hear lots and lots of testimony. It was really quite extraordinary that this topic would draw so much attention. But weight loss medication in this country is broadly used, very accessible, and it's doing a lot of good. We heard from folks whose literally their very lives depend on being able to take their GLP-1 based medication. They have lost lots of weight, they've become healthier, they've regained their lives, their livelihoods. And there is so much concern. I mean, and candidly, those folks that came to talk to us in the hearing, they were scared. They were really worried that they were going to lose access to their compounded GLP-1 medication. And some of them turned to compounds because the prescription medication available through two very large pharmaceutical companies didn't work for them. It didn't suit them. They had side effects or, fill in the blank. There were lots of reasons why those particular products were not working for them. Sometimes it was a physical reaction, but candidly, sometimes it has to do with the price. They could not take the drugs at that price point. They couldn't afford them. And so they turned to compounded GLP-1s, which has been perfectly acceptable for quite some time. And they were able to really change their lives. And that was very compelling, members. It was very, very compelling. This amendment is really important because it does what I believe we've heard the bill sponsors say they want out of the bill, which is to target the quote-unquote bad actors in this space. And they're out there. I completely believe that. Sometimes when we are hearing a bill and through committee or looking into it as it comes to the floor, you learn more about a topic than you ever thought you'd know and sometimes wish you didn't know. But as it turns out, there are 37 producers approved by the Federal Drug Administration, 37 producers of GLP-1. And that is the substance in weight loss drugs that is making them successful for all these people. And my concern about this bill is it doesn't actually acknowledge that those compounders using FDA-approved GLP-1, they're doing the right thing. They're doing the right thing. They are following the law. They're going through reputable source for the GLP-1 product that they compound into weight loss medication. Or diabetes medication. That's really how this all started, right? These were diabetes control medication. So we have those folks, and those are the ones we've been hearing from. I don't know about you all, but I have received, I don't know, probably thousands of emails at this particular point talking about this bill. And sometimes they're from the pharmaceutical companies, sometimes they're from pharmacists, sometimes they're from individuals who really rely on this particular medication to keep healthy. But there are those out there, the bad actors, who are not using FDA-approved GLP-1. Coming from wherever in the world that it's produced. And those are the people that we really need to go after, and that's why this amendment is really important, because it does protect those pharmacies, those compounders who are doing the right thing, who are following FDA guidelines and using FDA-approved GLP-1s. We've heard so much about this bill because it casts such a wide net. And as introduced, it really cast a wide net. It's been reined in a little bit. But I'm going to echo the good senator from Platteville's comment about the amendment that just passed. Let me pull it out. It talks about, well, it's here somewhere. It talks about this section applies only to a person that compounds more than 20 units of weight loss drugs per month. Or compounds weight loss drugs in batches of more than 20 units. That's not a lot. That's not a lot. And I question how many compounding pharmacies would be disallowed from actually doing what they do, which is create medication for people who have specific needs, because there are a lot of them out there. This is not a one-size-fits-all medication. So this amendment, L009, it protects the normal medical practice for these compounding pharmacies. And it also keeps the bill focused on those bad actors, those pharmacies, those individuals that are compounding with non-FDA approved GLP-1. That's what this is about, right? This is about patient safety. Well, if it's about patient safety, let's make it about patient safety. That's really important. It's also really important to understand that as this bill was introduced, it had a good fiscal note on it. It wasn't outrageous. We've seen worse. But they amended, the bill sponsors amended the bill. And the reason why it had such a hefty fiscal note was because initially the bill put the administration or the regulation of this under the pharmacy board. And I think that was important. I think that they're much better suited to regulate this industry than the Attorney General's office is. Candidly, I was concerned and asked the question in committee whether the Attorney General's office, who apparently is now doing regulation like this free of charge because they noted $0 on their fiscal note for their efforts. But do they really know anything about this? Do they know about pharmaceuticals? Would they have to hire somebody who knows about pharmaceuticals so that they can get up to speed? Because certainly it's taken me months of listening to this topic to even begin to scratch the surface. So I have a lot of questions about that particular portion of the bill, and I really don't agree that the Attorney General's office is the best to oversee this particular part of it. So again, L009 is a really important amendment, and I ask for an aye vote. I ask for you to understand what this bill does and what we're talking about here. This is very complicated, I get it, but let's make sure that we are knowing what we're voting on. And there has been lots of misinformation on, I agree, there has been lots of misinformation. This bill, if we are serious about going after the bad actors, then let's do that. Let's deal with the bad actors. Let's not penalize compounding pharmacies for trying to help people who are overweight and want to see a different life for themselves. Let's not do that. I ask for an aye vote.
Further discussion? Senator Carson.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Thank you for the comments from my colleague from Castle Rock and also from Platteville. A few comments. I'm going to urge a no vote on this amendment. A few comments on it. I think if you read the amendment, it's extreme. It basically covers everyone. It doesn't address the concern that we have here and basically says, you know, a practitioner who prescribes, orders, dispenses, or administers a compounded weight loss drug in the course of professional practice. Well, that says nothing about the quality of the compounding, the ingredients, they coming from FDA-approved facilities or inspected. The second part of this amendment, I presume, is to address that issue, but the terminology that they use here is in substantial compliance. So what is it? Is it in compliance or is it not in compliance? I can't tell from that. This would clearly have to be tightened up if we're really trying to get at making it clear that these ingredients have to be safe and effective and from either FDA approved or from facilities where the FDA has been involved in inspecting or reviewing them. So the language, I think, is very vague on that second point. I would also make the argument that the bill, as it stands right now, I think adequately addresses these concerns. It makes it clear that we're not targeting legitimate, good quality GLP-1 weight loss drugs. You know, we've repeated over and over again that we're targeting this at the bad actors, the ingredients that are not properly reviewed and inspected. And as I said earlier, it's clear that the customs, U.S. Customs is finding an awful lot of the ingredients coming into this country are not of the quality that we want for our consumers. So I would urge a no vote on this amendment.
Senator Judah.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I also want to clarify a few points that we heard, that these pharmacies are regulated by the FDA. That is the problem, is that they are not. There are two kinds of compounding pharmacies, 503A and 503B. 503B is regulated by the FDA. That is not what we're touching here. We are regulating 503A pharmacies, which is regulated by the state, which is the problem here, which is what we're trying to make sure are safe. I will also say that when we're asking the compounding pharmacies that are regulated by the state is to just have proof that they're using FDA-approved sources for their ingredients. And that's why the AG will have enforcement, to engage in the pharmaceutical enforcement under the Colorado Consumer Protection Act, and noting that our own Attorney General has said that the compounding pharmacies in Colorado should be regulated for these nefarious practices. And I ask for a no vote on this amendment.
Further discussion on L009? Seeing none, the motion before the body is the adoption of L009. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed, no? No. The noes have it. L009 fails. To the bill. Seeing no further, Senator, sorry.
No, do you have other things to say?
Thank you. Thank you,
Senator Carson.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Just to wrap up, I don't think we have any more folks who want to speak on this. I think we've made it pretty clear that we're trying to get at the bad actors here that are putting these ingredients together. They're coming from questionable sources. We have no interest in affecting negatively the compounding drug industry in general. We've continually narrowed this bill just to these GLP-1 drugs. I think everybody has seen some of the advertising and marketing for products that might say they're Ozempic or Wegovy or what. You get in there, you get into the link, and it makes it clear it has nothing to do with any of that. We want to make sure consumers are getting accurate information and they're getting good products, and that's the intent of this bill. So I would urge an aye vote.
Further discussion, Senator Bright.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Appreciate the comments and the intent. Appreciate the attention to this. I do feel like this is a space where we need to get it right. Getting it wrong has some pretty significant consequences, and I'd love to ask a question. I'm not sure it's been asked loudly enough, and that is, who benefits if Senate Bill 66 passes? Honestly, I don't believe the patients benefit in so much as I believe two extremely large pharmaceutical companies benefit. The two most profitable pharmaceutical companies on earth. One of them, net income exceeded $14 billion. The other one exceeded $10 billion. I feel like competition in this space is really cutting into their profits, even when it comes through legitimate means. There's no doubt they want to see Senate Bill 66 pass. The compounded alternatives made by licensed Colorado pharmacists dispensed pursuant to valid prescriptions using the same active pharmaceutical ingredients have been available to uninsured and underinsured patients for around $100 to $400 per month. It's kind of a wide gap. That price differential is not a rounding error. For a working family without insurance, that's the difference between getting the treatment and not getting the treatment. The legislative deck tells us that compounding pharmacies play an important role in the drug supply chain of all types. The sponsors believe that. I know they do. I believe it. But a bill that says compounding pharmacies are important in its preamble and then makes it financially impossible for them to operate is not really a consumer protection bill. I believe that the bill appears to be styled as a patient safety measure that's technically complex enough to obscure its market benefits and effects, but imposes compliance costs precisely calibrated to eliminate the competitors the big pharma cannot eliminate through pricing alone. It's not patient protection. The bill is the pharmaceutical industry dressed in the language of public health, trying to protect profits. And I would urge my colleagues to vote no on Senate Bill 66. Thank you.
Is there further discussion on Senate Bill 66? Senator Carson.
Just a couple of comments. You know, what we're talking about here is a life-saving product. It helps It has helped and helped many people. It's literally saving lives, treating diabetes, treating other illnesses where we need to have weight loss, and it's helping a lot of people. And so I don't choose to criticize the process and the companies that develop these life-saving drugs, treatments. These took decades in research and development, treatment, experimentation on animals, and then different programs to make sure these are good quality, healthy pharmaceuticals. If we want pharmaceutical companies to continue to develop the drugs that are going to cure, hopefully one day, Alzheimer's and Parkinson's and MS and many different diseases out there, you have to have a system which respects the process that brings the development of those drugs. They're putting 20, 30%. You can criticize the making of money, but 20 to 30% of revenue goes into research and development so we can bring drugs like this to market. But I think the main point of this legislation is we have no problem, with competition. There's a lot of competition. It clearly brings the price down. But we want to make sure that the competition that's out there is good for consumers, it's safe for consumers, they're getting a good product, they're not being misled, and we have a marketplace in this country where generally, drugs of this nature are inspected and approved by the FDA, and we're simply saying let's stick to that system here in Colorado, make it clear that these knockoff products that are coming in, we need to take a look at those. We need to regulate them, and in some cases, we need to have the Attorney General step in with some penalties. So I would urge support for the bill.
Motion before the body is the adoption of Senate Bill 66. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed, no? No. The ayes have it, and Senate Bill 66 is adopted. Majority Leader Rodriguez.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I move the Senate proceed out of order to take up House Bill 1017.
Motion is to proceed out of order to take up 1017. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no? The ayes have it. We will proceed over to 1017. Mr. Schaffler, will you please read the title to 1017?
House Bill 1017 by Representatives Espinosa and Zakai and Senator Weissman concerning prohibiting an insurer from receiving restitution through the criminal restitution process.
Senator Weissman.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I move 1017.
Is there any discussion? Senator Weissman.
Briefly, members, 1017 makes sure that restitution paid as a result of a criminal incident goes to natural persons, not insurance companies who have been paid premiums to make them whole for losses paid out. Ask for a yes vote.
Is there any further discussion? Seeing none, the motion before the body is the adoption of House Bill 1017. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no? The ayes have it, and 1017 is adopted. Mr. Majority Leader.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I move the Senate proceed out of order to take up House Bill 1103.
The motion is to proceed out of order to take up 1103. All those in favor say aye. Opposed, no? The ayes have it, and we will proceed out of order to take up 1103. Mr. Schaffler, please read the title to House Bill 1103.
House Bill 1103 by Representatives Garcia and Goldstein and Senator Cutter concerning amending specific legal processes for certain vulnerable populations.
Senator Cutter.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I move House Bill 1103 and the judicial report.
To the Judiciary Committee report.
I move, in the Judiciary, we actually ended up putting, in Judiciary Committee, we actually ended up putting on an amendment that was not correct. There was some confusion between the stakeholders, so I move that to reject the Judiciary report.
The motion is to reject the Judiciary Committee report. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no? The ayes have it, and that committee report is rejected. To the bill. There's an amendment at the desk. Mr. Schaffler, will you please read L9 to House Bill 1103.
Amendment L9, amend reading gross bill, page 2, line 13, strike reporting and substitute notification and strike abuse.
Senator Cutter.
Thank you, Madam Chair. This amendment simply clarifies under which circumstances they are to report, to share with the CACs information about with child advocacy centers, information about allegation of sexual misconduct and victims. It just clarifies that, and I'd ask for your support.
Can you please
Oh,
move
I'm
your
sorry.
amendment?
I move L009.
Okay, that is a proper motion, and thank you for explaining it. Is there further discussion on L9? Seeing no further discussion, the motion before the body is the adoption of L9. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no. The ayes have it. L9 is adopted. To the bill, Senator Cutter.
Thank you, Madam Chair. This bill just ensures that child advocacy centers are notified when law enforcement receives credible allegations of sexual abuse, and it supports coordinated multidisciplinary investigations involving law enforcement, child protection, medical providers, prosecutors, mental health professionals, and victim advocates. So this just allows courts to consider trauma-informed testimony options for kids, for victims under 18, when in-person testimony would cause serious emotional trauma. So it really strengthens our Colorado's trauma-informed response to child sex abuse while maintaining fairness in the justice system. So I ask for your support.
Is there further discussion? Senator Carson.
Thank you, Madam Chair. We did debate this bill in the Judiciary Committee, and I support the bill. I think you can imagine the unique situations we're dealing with here with minors who've been involved and victims of sexual or other abuse. And I think this bill is just a reflection that we need to, make sure we have involvement of counseling organizations and law enforcement, and we handle these situations properly. We still need to make sure that justice is served, but we got to recognize the unique situation where you often have very, very young children that are involved in these cases. So I would urge an aye vote on the bill.
Is there further discussion? Seeing none, the motion before the body is the adoption of House Bill 1103. All those in favor say aye. Opposed, no. The ayes have it. 1103 is adopted. Majority Leader Rodriguez.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I move to lay over the balance of the calendar until Tuesday, March 17th.
Cool, you've heard the motion. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no. The ayes have it, and we will lay over the balance of the calendar. Majority Leader Rodriguez.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I move the committee rise and report.
Motion is to rise and report. All those in favor say aye. Opposed, no. Ayes have it. We will rise and report. I saw Bridges like 13 seconds.
Senate will come to order. Senator Gonzalez.
Thank you, Mr. President. The committee met and considered several bills. Mr. Schauffele, will you please read the report?
March 16, 2026, Mr. President, in Committee of the Whole begs leave to report it has had under consideration the following attached bills being second reading thereof and makes following recommendations thereon. Senate Bill 66, as amended, passed on second reading, ordered engrossed and placed in the calendar for third reading and final passage. House Bill 1017, House Bill 1103, as amended, passed on second reading and ordered revised and placed in the calendar for third reading and final passage. Senate Bill 40, Senate Bill 112, Senate Bill 134, laid over until March 17, 2026, and retaining their place in the calendar.
Senator Gonzalez.
So grateful that we are in the Senate, wildly efficient. Thank you, Mr. Schauffele. I move for the adoption of the report.
The motion is the adoption of the Committee of the Whole report. Are there any no votes? Oh, there is an amendment at the desk. Mr. Schauffele. Now, there is no amendment. Are there any no votes on the Committee of the Whole report? We broke the system. Hold on a second. All right, now, no votes. Senators Frizzell, Kirkmeyer, Zamora Wilson, Rich, Pelton B., Baisley, Mr. Minority Leader, Bright, Liston, Catlin, Pelton R. With a vote of 24 ayes, 11 noes, 0 absent, 0 excused, Committee of the Whole report's adopted. I need a piece of paper to read. There it is. Thank you, Madam Secretary. Senate Bill 66 is amended, passed second reading, order gross place account of third reading and final passage. House Bill 1017, House Bill 1103, as amended, passed second reading, order revised place account for third reading and final passage. Senate Bill 40, Senate Bill 112, Senate Bill 134, laid over until 3/17/2026 and retaining their place on the calendar. Consideration of resolutions. Mr. Schauffele, please read the title of Senate Joint Resolution 17.
Senate Joint Resolution 17 by Senators Frizzell and Weissman and Representatives Brooks and Wilford concerning the reappointment of Carrie L. Hunter to the position of State Auditor.
Senator Frizzell.
Thank you, Mr. President. Members, I'm really honored to bring this resolution before you today. As the chair of the Legislative Audit Committee, and with me is my vice chair of the Legislative Audit Committee, we are here to recommend to you the reappointment of Carrie Hunter to the position of State Auditor, and she's back here in the back. I probably shouldn't have said that, I don't know. Anyway, well, I'd like to welcome Auditor Hunter to the chamber. The State Auditor's Office does amazing and important work in this building, and we are extremely grateful for her diligence and her management of her office. And with that, I ask for an aye vote on Senate Joint Resolution 2617.
And Senator Weissman.
Thank you, Mr. President. For the record, we move SJR 2617.
Yeah.
Members, just to add a bit more for folks who don't know, the Audit Committee is a bipartisan, bicameral committee, 8 members total, 2 each DR, House, Senate. We're evenly bipartisan, so we don't do anything without there is at least some bipartisan agreement. I'm on my second year serving on the Audit Committee, have the privilege to be vice chair this year. Basically, audit is part of how we hold the executive branch, once in a while the judicial branch, to account, to make sure that the laws and programs that we set up here statutorily are going to plan, that they're efficient, that we're not spending money unnecessarily. The auditor is actually a constitutional position. The Constitution provides that he or she has to be reappointed or appointed by majority of the whole legislature. We do that by resolution. That's what this resolution is. So I'm also asking everybody for a yes vote here to affirm the Audit Committee's unanimous decision to allow Auditor Hunter to continue in her service to the state.
Further discussion? Seeing no further discussion, the motion is the adoption of SJR 017. Are there any no votes? With A vote of 35 ayes, 0 noes, 0 absent, and 0 excused. SJR 17 is adopted. Co-sponsors, Senator. All right, Mr. Majority Leader. Mr. Minority Leader. Co-sponsors on SJR 017. Senators Marchman. Is there anybody that wants to vote no on this? Because then we could have asked for everybody to, okay. Senator Frizzell.
Mr. President, I'd like to ask that today's roll call be added as co-sponsors.
Seeing no objection. The current roll call, stop it. The current roll call will be added as co-sponsors. Listen. Consideration of governor's appointments consent calendar. Mr. Schaffler, please read the appointments listed on the consent calendar.
Member of the Medical Services Board for a term expiring July 1st, 2029, Barry Martin of Denver, Colorado, to serve as a representative of the 1st Congressional District, reappointed. Members of the Community Access Enterprise, effective September 29, 2025, for terms expiring September 28, 2029. Paul Boney of Steamboat Springs, Colorado, to serve as a representative of a business or organization that supports electric alternatives to motor vehicles, reappointed. Laura Getz of Pueblo, Colorado, to serve as a representative of the public, reappointed. Members of the Colorado Energy and Carbon Management Commission, after completion of their first term for a second term expiring July 1st, 2030, Michael Cross of Arvada, Colorado, to serve as a member with substantial experience in the oil and gas industry, reappointed. Brett Ackerman of Colorado Springs, Colorado, to serve as a member with formal training or substantial experience in environmental protection, wildlife protection, or reclamation, reappointed. Member of the Orphan Wells Mitigation Enterprise Board, effective September 2nd, 2025, for a term expiring September 1st, 2028. Christopher Simmons of Denver, Colorado, to serve as an individual with formal training or substantial experience in land reclamation projects, reappointed.
Majority Leader Rodriguez.
Thank you, Mr. President. I move for the passage of all the appointments on consideration of governor's appointments consent calendar, which are Barry Martin of Denver for the Medical Services Board, Paul Boney of Steamboat Springs, and Laura Getz of Pueblo for the Community Access Enterprise, Michael Cross of Arvada, Brett Ackerman of Colorado Springs for the Colorado Energy and Carbon Management Commission, and Christopher Simmons of Denver for the Orphan Wells Mitigation Enterprise Board.
Any discussion? Seeing none, the motion is the confirmation of the appointments on the consent calendar. Are there any no votes? With a vote of 35 ayes, 0 noes, 0 absent, 0 excused, those appointments are confirmed. Message from the governor.
Honorable members of the Colorado Senate, pursuant to the authority vested in the office of the Governor of the State of Colorado, I have the honor to inform you that I have approved and filed with the Secretary of State the following acts. Senate Joint Resolution 1, Water Projects Eligibility List, approved on Friday, March 13, 2026 at 8 a.m. Sincerely, Jared Polis, Governor.
Introduction of bills.
Senate Bill 140 by Senators Frizzell and Marchman and Representatives Gilchrist and Johnson concerning exempting certain drugs from the scope of affordability reviews conducted by the Colorado Prescription Drug Affordability Review Board.
Health and Human Services.
Senate Bill 141 by Senators Roberts and Simpson and Representatives McCluskey and Taggart concerning optional fees during motor vehicle registration that primarily support wildlife projects and in connection therewith using the proceeds of a newly created optional fee to construct wildlife crossings and other transportation improvements.
Transportation and Energy.
House Bill 1089 by Representatives Espinosa and Senator Snyder concerning mortgage modifications and in connection therewith enacting the Uniform Mortgage Modification Act.
Judiciary.
House Bill 1090 by Representatives Luck and Senators Gonzalez and Representatives Luck and Martinez and Senator Gonzalez concerning teacher licensing requirements.
Education.
House Bill 1095 by Representatives Sukla and Nguyen and Senator Peltonar and Lindstedt concerning unpaid online access to public notices as published in legal newspapers.
Local Government and Housing.
House Bill 1191 by Representatives Johnson and Bacon and Senators Frizzell and Weissman concerning the examination of a school district that receives state education fund money for capital construction projects for qualified charter schools in the district and in connection therewith making the state auditor's examination of school district's records discretionary rather than mandatory.
Education.
House Bill 1258 by Representatives Soper and Titone and Senators Roberts and Peltonar concerning death.
Business, Labor, and Technology. Announcements. Mr. Minority Leader.
Thank you, Mr. President. A moment of personal privilege.
Granted.
Thank you, Mr. President. Colleagues, today we have the privilege of welcoming students from the Colorado School of Mines, who actually represent the National Society of Black Engineers. There's two of them in the I'm sorry, Mr. President. There's two of them if they just stand up and be recognized. NSBA, one of the nation's largest student-led STEM organizations with over 700 chapters and more than 24,000 members worldwide. NSBE's mission is to increase the number of culturally responsible Black engineers who excel academically, succeed professionally, and positively impact their communities. The Colorado School of Mines NSBE chapter exemplifies this mission. The chapter members serves as mentors to students attending the Robert Smith STEAM Academy in Denver. They host numerous professional development programs on the Mines campus with industry partners and foster a strong community for all Mines students through cultural events. We're honored today to recognize these exceptional students for their commitment to excellence, representation, and service. They embody the future of Colorado's STEM workforce and the values that strengthen both our institutions and our communities. Welcome, gentlemen.
Welcome to the Senate. Senator Baisley.
Thank you, Mr. President. May I have a moment of personal privilege?
Granted.
Thank you, Mr. President. Members, I get the honor every fall to teach a class on the legislative process at Charis Bible College up in my hometown of Woodland Park. And in the winter or spring, those students come here to see everything that they learned in classroom. They come to see here in the Capitol. And so they are here visiting us on the floor today. If y'all would please welcome students from the Practical Government School at Charis Bible College.
Welcome, Senator Baisley.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I bet the good senator from Greenwood Village would care to join me on this one. Today is, did I ask for a moment of personal privilege?
You did not, but you also referred to the Senate President as the chairman. Senator Baisley would be fined $1 for referring to the Senate President as the chairman.
I got it.
Senator.
A dollar?
Yes, you know, just times are tough right now for everybody financially. Senator Baisley.
Thank you, Mr. President. May I please have a moment of personal privilege?
Granted.
Thank you, Mr. President. So today is Aerospace Day here at the state capitol, and I bet my colleague from Greenwood Village would probably want to talk about it before I do.
Senator Bridges.
Thank you, Mr. President. He's a big deal. He is a big deal. I asked for a moment of personal privilege.
Denied. Granted.
I think Space Camp is relevant to this chamber and this body. And this is the one time a year that I get to talk about Space Camp and how I went there. I know I never talk about it any other time, but that was a real formative period of my life. I am really into space, and I happen to live in the state that is the most into space of any state in the country. We have more aerospace workers. We have a larger aerospace economy per capita than any other state in the country, significantly more than Alabama. Boo! The Space Command rightfully belongs in Colorado. It has been in Colorado. We are ready for it. We can stand that capacity up, with that command up. It is a blow to the security of our nation that was taken away from Colorado for purely, I don't want to get my colleagues in trouble here, but for purely political reasons. As far as I see it, I'm disappointed in that. It is wrong. The capital of space is Colorado. We are a mile closer to it. This is where the economy is centered. This is where the work happens. And I am grateful for the role that our many aerospace companies play in supporting Colorado's economy. You all rock. Thank you. And I'd love to go back to Space Camp one day.
Very good. Senator Baisley.
Thank you, Mr. President. So the good senator from Greenwood Village and I are co-chairs of the Aerospace Caucus, and together we welcome, seated here over on the right, and please stand when we say your name. So Grace Grain Wright, the director of the Colorado Space Institute. We'll take turns.
Gerard Herbert with EnergySys ABSL Artemis supplier.
And Genevieve McNally, Colorado Space Business Roundtable.
And
Lynn Ann George, PhD, American Institute for Aeronautics and Astronautics, AIAA.
And lastly, Stacy DeFore, Citizens for Space Exploration, Lockheed Martin, Artemis, Orion Capsule, Aerospace and Defense. Members, please help us welcome the members of the Aerospace Caucus. Thank you, Mr. President.
You're welcome. Welcome to the Senate. Senator Rich.
Thank you, Mr. President. I have received permission to be excused on Friday, March the 27th.
We will miss you. Senator Liston.
Thank you, Mr. President. Members, I know you're just all pining to go to the nuclear caucus today. The Lunch and Learn is today, across the street. As soon as we get out, we'll have the speakers will be La Una and the IBEW about what the unions will be able to do when we have nuclear energy someday in Colorado. Lunch will be served, and so it'll be starting momentarily. I encourage you to come. Thank you, Mr. President.
Very good. Senator Colker.
Thank you, Mr. President. Education Committee will be hearing today at 1:30. We have appointments to the College Invest Board of Directors and the Colorado State University System. Hearing two bills. We'll be hearing first Senate Bill 68, then House Bill 1136.
Very good. Senator Weissman.
Thank you, Mr. President. Judiciary Committee meets today at 1:30 in the old Supreme Court room. We have a couple items of business. We're hearing some confirmations to the Juvenile Parole Board, followed by House Bill 1009, followed by 1185. See you then.
Very good. Senator Peltonar.
Thank you, Mr. President. It's Tuesday morning tomorrow. Come down to the basement, 7:15. Have a Bible study. We'll feed your soul, and then we'll feed your belly also.
Very good. Further announcements. God bless whoever that was. You're welcome. Mr. Majority Leader. Senator Amabile.
Thank you, Mr. President. Sorry about that. Can anybody tell me what I'm about to say?
Joint Budget Committee.
The Joint Budget Committee will be meeting across the street at 1:30. We have a variety of things. Approps is until Friday. We will also be meeting at 8:30 tomorrow morning with the Capital Development Committee. So come on over.
Be there. Thank you. Mr. Majority Leader.
Thank you, Mr. President. I move that the Senate adjourn until 9 a.m. Tuesday, March 17th, 2026.
The motion is to adjourn Tuesday, March 17th, 9 a.m. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed, no. The ayes have it. Wow. And we will adjourn until tomorrow, Tuesday, March 17th at 9 a.m.